Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Nzinga.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If you need to develop into a better leader, this podcast is for you. If you want to achieve a greater level of success, this podcast is for you. His mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell, said it best: everything rises and falls on leadership. We hope to inspire you today and provide you with an insight that has the potential to positively impact the trajectory of your life. Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast.
Imagine gaining the leadership skills that could redefine your career. Join Coach BZ on the Leadership and Success Podcast, where each episode delivers practical insights from world-class speakers, military leaders, and industry experts. We dive deep into what matters most: building resilient teams, leading through uncertainty, and navigating complexity with clarity and confidence. Every conversation is crafted for aspiring leaders like you who are ready to grow, lead, and make a lasting impact. Don't miss our powerful live sessions and recent highlights. Michelle Hayward on building diverse, high-performing technical teams. Ann Leslie on leading through global complexity and cybersecurity risk. Ron Carpenter AI exploring faith, resilience, and AI-powered leadership. Colonel Michelle G.I. Gardner-Ince on commanding influence from the battlefield to the boardroom. Chris Robinson on shifting from drift to drive in life and leadership. And Coach Enrique Acosta Gonzalez on mentorship, legacy, and heart-centered leadership. Ready to level up your leadership journey? Tune in on Spotify, Apple, Audible Podcasts, YouTube Live, and LinkedIn Live. Join the movement toward leadership excellence. Listen now and start transforming your success. What if your next keynote speaker could bridge the worlds of national defense, Silicon Valley innovation, and global leadership? Meet Bob Fabian, BZ Nzinga, award-winning keynote speaker, U.S. Navy Information Warfare Commander, and trusted executive in technology, leadership, and strategy. With over 20 years of proven leadership in the U.S. Department of Defense, the U.S. Navy, higher education, and the high-tech sector, from startups to Fortune 500 companies, BZ delivers keynote experiences that inspire, challenge, and equip leaders for real-world impact. BZ speaks with authority on cybersecurity and national security, strategies to safeguard critical assets in an age of constant threat, artificial intelligence and emerging technology, how to innovate responsibly while staying ahead of disruption, leadership and corporate governance, building resilient, ethical, and high-performance organizations in any environment. Every keynote blends military precision, Silicon Valley agility, and boardroom strategy, delivering practical takeaways that leaders can apply immediately. Audiences leave inspired, informed, and ready to lead with clarity and courage. Whether you're hosting a global conference, corporate summit, or leadership retreat, book BZ to energize your event and empower your audience to lead in a rapidly changing world.
All right, everyone. Today is Friday, August 22nd. This is Coach BZ coming to you from Silicon Valley. Thanks so much for being with me today. Today is going to be a pretty important podcast, I believe. We're going to be talking about resilient leadership in the shadow of 1619. Lesson from 406 years of struggle, service, and hope. But before we get into that, would you please let me know where you are coming from? Which city, which state, and if you're outside of the US, what country? So where are you tuning in from? I appreciate that. And also start thinking about one thing you are grateful for today. I'm going to get back to that for a moment of gratitude in just a moment. And if this podcast is adding value to you, please go ahead and tag someone, especially those aspiring to lead with courage, respect, and resilience. You can like the post and repost it into your feed and tag someone. I really do appreciate it. And as you are listening to the podcast, please type in the comment section what you are learning. If you have any aha moment, go ahead and type that in the comment place so you can share what you're learning with everybody else. And then by the end of the podcast, please think of one insight that inspired you that you're going to be able to put into practice this weekend, right? And next week. So I really do appreciate that. We have a LinkedIn user who told me they're coming from Washington, D.C. I don't see a name, so they must have a private setting on their LinkedIn, but that is good. Uh, you are very, very welcome wherever you are from Washington, D.C., and thank you so much for letting us know. So let's start with what I call our moment of gratitude. So part of the reason why I do this in the military is about 21, 22 veterans every single day that commit suicide in this country. And that's just not right. And one thing I know, if you are grateful, it's impossible to be suicidal at the same time, right? If you are grateful, it's impossible to be depressed at the same time. If you are grateful, it's impossible to be anxious at the same time. I know there is an epidemic of mental health in America, especially in the military and veteran. I've had to deal with my own issues, but definitely keeping your mind positive, I think, absolutely positively help. So for the next few moments, no, it's gonna be less than a minute. If you can, please think of your happy place. For me, it's always the beach. I really love the beach, seeing the sun, the clouds, and feeling the breeze on my cheeks. And it's a place where I feel happy. I feel whole. I feel like I am all I am meant to be, and I am doing what I was supposed to be doing here on this earth. So, in that happy place, wherever that is for you, now I want you to think of one thing that you are grateful for today. Yesterday, I was grateful that I was alive. I was grateful for my breath. Today, I'm grateful for my best friend, my wife, Queen Nzinga. She's been a solid partner to me for more than 24 years now. We've been married, and I couldn't be me without her. So I'm very grateful for Demetria today. All right. So if you want to and you are willing to share, please type it in the comment as well what you are grateful for. And when I was thinking about this yesterday, one crazy thing I was grateful for right after the pandemic was actually the crazy traffic in the Bay Area. Because during the pandemic, there was absolutely no traffic anywhere. It was like a desert town across the entire valley. I didn't like that very much. And when people started driving again and I was stuck in traffic, I was actually very, very happy for that. Anyway, all right. Thank you so much. Let's now get into our podcast. So, this podcast isn't going to be easy. I know there is kind of like a trend right now in America to try to rewrite history, or some people say is whitewash it, which is absolutely not acceptable. History is history. It is the fact, and we need to learn from our past so that we can create a better future. So, this conversation today, you're going to be learning about how the painful history of slavery in America, beginning with the arrival of slave African in 1619. Now, one thing I must say about that, I am connected with the first African slave who came to America. I believe it was Port Comfort. Not very comfortable for the African slave, but that's where it was in Virginia, August 20th, 1619, exactly 406 years ago. The slave came from Angola. And I was born in the Republic of the Congo. And back in the day, Republic of the Congo, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, or Zaire, across the river, and Angola were part of what we call the Congo Kingdom with a K, not a C. And one of my direct ancestors, Queen Nzinga. My father was named after her, Robert Zinga. Uh, she was the royal head of that kingdom back then. But anyway, the very, very first slaves that came to America, African slave in the British colony, were my ancestor kin. So that is my connection with the American history of slavery, really the original sin of America. And we are still today, more than 400 years later, still seeing the effect of that. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the resilience of leaders like Queen Nzinga, my direct ancestor, the Golden 13. Those are the very first black Navy officers. That was in 1944. My dad was born in 1943, so it was a year after my father was born. So it's only about like 80, 81 years ago. All right. We're going to talk about the resilience of leaders like Harriet Tubman, Dr. Martin Luther King. And then we're going to see how those leaders and their resilience really leave timeless lesson on courage, dignity, and perseverance. Right? You will discover how this story connect to my 10 commandments of resilient leadership and gain practical insight into how aspiring military and tech leaders can model integrity, build inclusive culture, and embody hope, even in the face of adversity. Ultimately, you will walk away challenged to reflect on history, inspired to lead with resilience, and equipped to build a better future where every person, regardless of race, gender, creed, sexual orientation, as long as you are here, you're in America, we are this melting pot, everyone needs to be valued. So that's really the world we want to build. That is the world I want to be a part of. Now, another thing too, if you are watching me live and you would like to get on toward the end of the podcast and just share your thoughts, what you've learned, or comment, I am welcome to do that. Just type in the comment, I want to go live, and I will send you a link to get to the green room and we can have a short discussion before we end. And at the very end of the podcast, I will also play probably one of the most famous speech ever. I have a dream, and I think it's really an American dream. And America is a very special place because, as far as I can tell, it's the only country in the world with a dream, right? I was born in Africa. I am French by culture and American by choice. And America is the only country I know that has a dream. And that dream is for everyone, black, white, men, women, gay, straight, everyone who lives in this country has the privilege and should have the right and the opportunity to dream. And I think that is so important. And that's the kind of society we really want to build. We don't want to exclude anyone. And then I will also play a song by Will I Am about Yes, We Can, which was a very famous speech by President Barack Obama. And I think it just embodies that spirit of America. We can do better. Together, you and I, we can make a better world for the future, right? And then I will end with the timeless poem by Maya Angelou, Still I Rise. No matter what the adversity, still I rise. So it's that, again, the spirit of resilience, that spirit that says, no, I will not be defeated and I am going to make it. I'm going to find a way. And that is really what we're going to be talking about today, the resilience of the human spirit. Okay, no further ado, I'm going to have my AI agent take you through the podcast. It's going to be about 30 minutes or so, and then I will be back again. If you want to be on the show, just type I want to go live, and I'm going to send you the link to the green room, and we can have a short discussion before we end the podcast today. Right.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a story, a narrative that spans over 4 centuries. It's woven right into the very fabric of a nation, marked by, well, profound struggle, but also by just extraordinary resilience and leadership. We're talking about a story that begins on August 20th, 1619, and it echoes powerfully right into today. It's really a journey from immense pain to enduring hope, and it's brimming with lessons for anyone who aspires to lead.
Yes, and what's truly compelling here, I think, is how we can extract these universal principles of leadership from what one of our sources actually describes as the nation's original sin. So this deep dive, it isn't just about revisiting history, is it? It's about understanding that enduring human spirit and the foundational principles that allow leaders to emerge, not just despite, but often, because of immense pain and adversity.
Exactly. Our source for this deep dive is a really powerful article. It's titled Resilient Leadership in the Shadow of 1619, Lessons from 406 Years of Struggle, Service, and Hope by Bob Fabian Queen Nzinga. And our mission today is to truly understand how that historical context of 1619 and all its ripple effects have shaped, demanded, and exemplified resilient leadership. We're aiming to pull out those surprising facts, those, aha moments, and most importantly, practical insights for you, our listener, insights on how to lead with integrity, courage, and hope in your own life and work today.
Right. And a critical question for us to explore, I think, is how centuries of struggle, service, and hope can actually provide a robust blueprint for modern leadership. Seems counterintuitive, almost. We'll dig into not just what happened, but why it profoundly matters for aspiring leaders in any field, whether you're in the military, maybe a tech startup, or running a nonprofit. And it's really important to remember, our goal here is not to endorse any specific political stance. We're focused on impartially conveying the powerful ideas and, importantly, the leadership lessons contained within this material. It's about the content and its implications for strengthening leadership.
Exactly. Our aim is to move beyond just, recounting history. We want to truly grasp what these foundational moments teach us. Teach us about overcoming monumental challenges and how diverse leaders, from the enslaved to the celebrated forged paths forward. This deep dive should leave you feeling genuinely well-informed and hopefully ready to apply some of these insights. So let's begin at the very root of this profound struggle to really understand the weight of 1619. The defining moment, as our source meticulously highlights, is August 20th, 1619. On that fateful day, an English privateer, the White Lion, made landfall at Point Comfort. That's a small spit of land near modern-day Hampton, Virginia. And what happened there was, a pivotal foundational event that would forever alter the course of American history.
The precise details from the source are chillingly specific. This wasn't just any ship. The White Lion had captured 20-and-odd enslaved Africans from a Portuguese slaver, the São João Batista, off the coast of Angola. Just try to imagine the horror of their journey. They were described as, quote, shackled, starving, stripped of their dignity. Upon arrival in Virginia, they were bartered, literally traded for provisions, food, and supplies, and then forced into this brutal system of lifelong bondage. This act, as CNN's Abby Phillip powerfully puts it, was evil, and it's rightfully labeled the nation's original sin.
Yeah, and it's impossible, as Philip notes, to truly understand the full, complex tapestry of American history without grappling with the deep, pervasive impact of slavery from this very moment forward. And here's where it gets really interesting. It adds this extraordinary layer of personal connection. The author of our source material, Bob Fabian Nzinga, he has a direct ancestral link to this very history. Through his father, he is a direct descendant of Queen Nzinga of the Congo Kingdom.
That's right. And from a broader perspective, the author's personal connection, it isn't merely a biographical detail, is it? It profoundly underscores the enduring, deeply personal impact of historical injustices. It highlights the potent power of inherited legacy in shaping an individual's perspective on leadership. And for context, the Congo Kingdom spanned what is now Angola, the Republic of Congo, where the author was actually born, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So this means the enslaved Angolans who arrived in 1619 were literally his ancestral kin. He states their blood and resilience flow through his veins, giving him this unique lens through which to view this history and its leadership lessons.
That profound personal lineage, it immediately brings us to the first of what the author identifies as the 10 Commandments of resilient leadership, and that is, lead with integrity and honesty. The source emphasizes that true leaders must possess the courage to confront hard truths about history, about themselves, and about the systems they inherit. So, what does this actually mean for us, for you, the listener? It means authentic leadership demands an unflinching gaze, looking at even the most painful, uncomfortable parts of our past, whether that's a national history, an organizational failure, maybe even a personal mistake. You can't genuinely build a better, more just future without first acknowledging and understanding the foundational struggles that shaped your present. For instance, think about maybe a challenging project review or a difficult postmortem in a team. Integrity and honesty mean not just looking at the metrics, but truly examining systemic flaws, acknowledging individual shortcomings, and dismantling the underlying issues, even when it's uncomfortable. It's really the difference between a superficial fix and genuine transformation.
Precisely. And it's crucial to acknowledge that while 1619 marks a pivotal point, the narrative of slavery in what would become the United States is even more complex. Our source introduces an earlier crucial nuance. While 1619 marked the enduring and codified establishment of slavery in the English colonies, there was a historical precedent. In 1526, nearly a century before the White Lion, a Spanish expedition led by Lucas Vázquez de Ayllón established San Miguel de Gualdape, likely near present-day Sapelo Island, Georgia. This expedition brought with it around 100 enslaved Africans, marking the first recorded presence of enslaved Africans in what would eventually become the United States.
Right, that's a critical distinction to grasp, and it highlights the evolving nature of this horrific institution. The source points out that in the English colonies, slavery was quickly and brutally codified as for life and generational, meaning it was passed down through families, effectively creating this permanent, inescapable underclass. In stark contrast, in the Spanish colonies, there were at least pathways to freedom, though often incredibly arduous ones, sometimes only after decades of forced servitude or, through conversion and loyalty.
And here's where the source makes its unequivocal condemnation powerfully clear. Quote, "Was one system better than the other? No. Slavery in any form is indefensible." This stance is deeply reinforced by Jim Lola's observation, which is quoted in the article. Slavery was and continues to be a stain on the soul of America. Its justification can be nothing more than the justification of extreme evil. End quote. This earlier historical detail isn't just a footnote. It strengthens the argument for integrity and honesty in leadership. It shows us that patterns of injustice are deep-rooted and insidious. Understanding their evolution in varied forms is absolutely critical, not only for recognizing human cruelty, but for dismantling these structures in our own time. It shows us that systemic issues rarely have simple origins. They require that honest historical reckoning.
It's a truly powerful reminder, isn't it? While the specific details and legal frameworks might vary across time and cultures, the fundamental moral imperative against slavery and dehumanization is absolute. What stands out to you about how these early historical points so powerfully set the stage for our discussion on resilient leadership? This context reinforces that leaders must study history with unwavering honesty, not just to recognize the depths of human cruelty, but also to deeply commit ourselves to never repeating it. It's about drawing lessons from the past to actively shape a more just, more equitable future, even when faced with uncomfortable truths.
Building on that crucial foundation of understanding the past, let's pivot now to the arc of resilience. This incredible, persistent journey of service, dignity, and hope that emerged directly from this immense struggle. Our source highlights the unwavering patriotism and courage of African Americans who have fought in every American conflict since the nation's inception. Think about Crispus Attucks, often considered the first martyr of liberty, who fell during the Boston Massacre, or the estimated 5,000 black patriots who served in the Continental Army during the Revolutionary War. Despite being enslaved or facing profound discrimination, their commitment to the nation, even one that denied them full rights, has been nothing short of profound.
And Frederick Douglass, the extraordinary orator, writer, abolitionist, he captured the profound significance of this service as a direct claim to dignity and rights. He famously declared, "Once let the black man get upon his person the brass letters U.S., there is no power on earth that can deny he has earned the right to citizenship." Just sit with that statement for a moment. It's an incredibly powerful assertion. The idea that service, especially military service, was a direct, undeniable demand for fundamental human and civil rights. It represented an active effort to force the nation to live up to its stated ideals, one bullet or one uniform at a time.
Indeed. The source provides compelling examples of military excellence and an unwavering commitment to dignity throughout history. During the Civil War, nearly 180,000 black men fought for the Union Army, a critical force in ending slavery itself, proving their courage and dedication on battlefields like Fort Wagner and Port Hudson. In World War I, the Harlem Hellfighters, an all-black regiment, famously spent more time in combat than any other American regiment, displaying incredible courage and effectiveness on the front lines, often under French command because of American segregation. And then in World War II, the legendary Tuskegee Airmen proved their exceptional skills in the skies, protecting bombers. Despite being forced to serve in segregated units and facing racial prejudice even from those they were protecting.
And then, in 1944, a truly landmark moment. The Golden 13, the Navy's first 13 black officers. Samuel Gravely, who would later go on to become the Navy's first black admiral, vividly recalled the immense pressure they felt. He said, with profound weight, "We knew failure was not an option. We carried the weight of generations on our shoulders." Think about that pressure, the weight of generations. It's an incredible testament to how leadership can not only endure, but actually thrive under what seemed like impossible odds. It's about more than personal success. It's about breaking down barriers for countless others who will follow.
This powerful narrative illustrates the concept of anti-fragility perfectly, which brings us to Commandment 3, build anti-fragile cultures. Think of it like a muscle that grows stronger with resistance, or maybe a bone that becomes denser after a break. It's not just about recovering from a challenge, but about fundamentally transforming and evolving to be more capable because you face that adversity. The source implies that under pressure, true leaders don't just survive, they grow stronger and actively carry others with them. And this prompts a crucial question for us, doesn't it? How do we cultivate environments in our own organizations, our own teams, where challenges don't just test us, but genuinely make us and our teams more robust and capable for the future? It means fostering adaptability, courage, genuine mutual support within a team, and designing systems that actually gain from disorder rather than being harmed by it. This can involve encouraging managed risk-taking, conducting thorough postmortems focused on learning, not blame, and empowering teams to solve problems amidst chaos.
Building on that indomitable spirit of resistance and dignity, let's zoom back in time a bit and revisit Queen Nzinga, the author's direct ancestor, a true matriarch of resistance and strategic genius. For over 4 decades, from 1583 to 1663, she fiercely resisted Portuguese colonizers in Angola, colonizers who sought to enslave her people and dominate her kingdom. Her story is absolutely legendary, a testament to unwavering will.
A particularly captivating anecdote that truly exemplifies her spirit is the famous chair incident. When Nzinga arrived for a negotiation with the Portuguese governor, she was deliberately offered a floor mat to sit on, while he sat in the grand chair. It was a calculated insult, designed to assert dominance. Nzinga, without missing a beat, commanded one of her own servants to immediately kneel on all fours, creating a human chair for her to sit upon. Her message was unmistakable and delivered with profound dignity. I bow to no one. This wasn't just personal defiance. It was a powerful, symbolic, and strategic act. It communicated her resolve and set a precedent for her people. It wasn't merely physical courage, but a profound moral and strategic courage that resonated through centuries, influencing subsequent generations of resistance.
You can just picture the sheer power of that moment, can't you? Just, oh, wow. The source describes Nzinga's reign as a masterclass in diplomacy, innovation, and fierce courage. She didn't just resist. She actively led armies, forged complex alliances with rival kingdoms, even the Dutch, and consistently demanded dignity and sovereignty for her people in the face of overwhelming European power. Her spirit echoes powerfully into modern advocacy. It connects seamlessly to Shirley Chisholm's iconic quote, "If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair." That folding chair, quote, perfectly encapsulates Nzinga's essence. It's about asserting your presence, creating the space you need, and demanding respect even when it's deliberately denied.
Exactly. And this narrative leads directly to Commandment 9, lead with courage. The source states that leaders may inherit battles they did not choose, but they must fight them with dignity and vision. Nzinga's actions weren't just about personal defiance. They were about setting a standard and building a legacy for her people. This compels us to consider what systemic or cultural battles we might have inherited in our own contexts, and importantly, how we choose to fight them. Courage in leadership isn't just about facing external threats. It's profoundly about the moral fortitude to uphold dignity, to speak truth to power, and to fight for what's right, even when it's unpopular, personally costly, or deeply uncomfortable. For a modern leader, this might mean advocating for an underrepresented team member, challenging a deeply entrenched but maybe inefficient corporate policy, or taking an unpopular but principled stand on an issue.
Right. And the arc of resilience also includes the incredible inner strength shown by enslaved people. People who, despite the dehumanizing conditions of bondage, ingeniously built families, culture, and faith in the shadows. Their ability to create communities and maintain their humanity amidst such terror is a profound testament to human resilience that truly echoes through history. Think of Harriet Tubman, a towering figure of decentralized empowerment and hope, who actively built a system to free hundreds. Her unwavering resolve is perfectly captured in her powerful quote, "I never ran my train off the track and I never lost a passenger."
That statement speaks volumes, doesn't it? About her meticulous planning, incredible daring, and ultimate success in guiding hundreds to freedom on the Underground Railroad. She wasn't just a leader, she was a master strategist and a system builder, creating this vast clandestine network of safe houses and allies. And then, bringing us closer to modern times, we have Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose iconic quotes articulate the long game of justice with unparalleled clarity. "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice," he famously said. And crucially, change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle. He understood that progress requires consistent, active effort against resistance.
It's easy to look at the immense scale of historical struggle and feel, well, overwhelmed or even despair. But the stories of Tubman and King powerfully show us that hope isn't just a passive, nice feeling. It's a vital, strategic engine for change. This brings us directly to Commandment 7, nurture hope and optimism. Our source says, with remarkable insight, that hope is not naive, it is fuel for perseverance. It's an active ingredient, not a passive byproduct.
Yes. And this raises an important question for any leader. In the face of long-term challenges, how do you sustain not just your own hope, but the optimism and morale of those you lead? The source implies it's an active, conscious effort, much like enslaved people transforming their pain into spirituals and hymns of freedom. It's about painting a compelling vision of a better future, celebrating small victories, and inspiring unwavering belief in its attainability, even when the immediate reality is bleak and setbacks occur. Hope, in this context, becomes a strategic asset, a force multiplier that doesn't just sustain people through setbacks, but actively energizes them to push progress forward, multiplying their collective effort and resilience. It can mean sharing stories of past successes, maintaining transparent communication about challenges while also outlining a clear path forward, and visibly investing in the future even when resources are scarce.
So we've journeyed through these incredible individuals and pivotal historical moments. We've witnessed leadership forged in the crucible of immense challenge. Now, let's connect the dots and look at how these profound stories translate into a practical blueprint for leadership that is relevant for you today. Our source distills these powerful lessons into what it calls the 10 Commandments of Resilient Leadership through history.
Right. And from a wider lens, these aren't just abstract ideas. They are principles forged in the crucible of real-world struggle and demonstrated by diverse leaders across centuries. They provide a cohesive, actionable framework, connecting abstract principles to concrete examples, emphasizing that these lessons are timeless and applicable far beyond their historical origins. They form a robust set of guidelines for navigating complex challenges in any organization.
Okay, let's unpack each one, digging into its practical meaning for today's leaders. First, lead with integrity and honesty. We started our deep dive discussing Abby Phillip's powerful call to remember slavery truthfully and the author's insistence on facing hard truths. This commandment demands the profound courage to face uncomfortable historical truths, whether that's a nation's past, an organization's failures, or a leader's own shortcomings. Why is this the foundational commandment? Because it underpins all trust and the genuine ability to truly understand and effectively address any challenge. Without an honest assessment of reality, any leadership effort is built on shaky ground. In practice, this means acknowledging mistakes publicly, providing transparent communication about challenges and successes, and fostering a culture where data and truth are prioritized over comfort or convenience. For a tech leader, this might mean being brutally honest about a product's limitations or project's cost overruns rather than spinning the narrative. For a military commander, it's providing an unvarnished assessment of a mission's risks and challenges to your team, even when it's difficult news.
Flowing seamlessly from integrity is people first. We saw this exemplified by Queen Nzinga prioritizing her people's dignity, Harriet Tubman risking everything for the freedom of others, and Martin Luther King Jr. consistently fighting for human rights and equality above all else. What does people first truly mean in practice for a modern leader? It means consistently valuing human life, dignity, and potential as the ultimate currency of leadership. It's about recognizing the inherent worth of every individual on your team and placing their well-being, growth, and flourishing at the core of your decision-making. This translates into tangible actions like investing in professional development, ensuring fair treatment and equitable opportunities, providing robust support systems, and fostering a psychologically safe environment where team members feel heard, respected, and valued for their contributions, not just their output.
Third, build anti-fragile cultures. We discussed the incredible example of the Golden 13 thriving under impossible odds, carrying the weight of generations. Remember, anti-fragility is about gaining from disorder, not just surviving it. So how do leaders build cultures that don't just bounce back from adversity, but actually become stronger because of it? It involves fostering deep adaptability, cultivating shared courage, and instilling mutual support. It's about creating an environment where challenges aren't just endured, but are actively embraced as opportunities for growth and increased robustness. This could look like conducting pre-mortems to anticipate risks and build resilience proactively, empowering teams to experiment and learn from safe-to-fail efforts, or decentralizing decision-making so that local teams can respond rapidly to unexpected disruptions.
Fourth, practice transparent communication. The truth-telling of figures like Frederick Douglass, who eloquently exposed the brutality of slavery, and Martin Luther King Jr., whose speeches galvanized a nation with unvarnished truths, literally changed the course of history. This commandment highlights the profound power of speaking truth to power and speaking truth to your team, even when it's unpopular or dangerous. How does clear, transparent communication effectively build trust and mobilize people? By ensuring that facts are presented openly, even difficult ones, and that the vision, challenges, and strategic rationale are clearly articulated. This fosters a crucial sense of shared reality and purpose, which is absolutely essential for collective action and resilient problem solving. It means creating channels for open feedback, explaining the why behind decisions, and being vulnerable enough to admit when you don't have all the answers.
Fifth, Embrace decentralized empowerment. Harriet Tubman stands as the ultimate example here. She wasn't just guiding individuals, she was equipping them, fostering their agency, creating a network that empowered others to walk into freedom. She built a system where individuals became agents of their own liberation. True leaders don't just command, they create pathways for others to lead themselves and their peers. What does it concretely look like to empower instead of control? It means delegating significant authority, fostering individual initiative, trusting individuals to make decisions within defined parameters, and actively multiplying the leadership capacity across an organization. It's about building resilient, adaptable networks rather than rigid top-down hierarchies. For a military unit, this could mean empowering junior officers to make critical decisions on the ground. In a tech company, it means giving product teams autonomy over their roadmaps.
Sixth, cultivate adaptability. Consider the countless Black soldiers across centuries who adapted their roles and found ways to serve and excel, despite persistent systemic exclusion and discrimination. Their ability to contribute and achieve excellence, often against immense odds, showcases incredible adaptability. How critical is the ability to adjust strategies, roles, and approaches in the face of rapidly changing circumstances and entrenched resistance? Well, it is absolutely paramount. Leaders must be flexible, willing to pivot when necessary, and able to navigate complex, evolving environments without losing sight of their core mission. This means fostering a learning mindset within your team, encouraging continuous upskilling, and being open to reevaluating established processes. In a fast-paced market, this might translate to agile sprints and rapid iteration, learning from every market signal and competitor move.
Seventh, nurture hope and optimism. From the soulful spiritual sung in the shadows of bondage, turning pain into hymns of freedom, to the powerful anthems of the civil rights movement, hope was a constant, defiant theme. Our source calls hope a force multiplier. It's not a mere sentiment, it's an active ingredient that sustains people through setbacks and pushes progress forward. How can leaders actively cultivate optimism within their teams, especially during challenging times? By articulating a compelling vision for the future, consistently celebrating both large and small victories, and reinforcing the unwavering belief that positive change is not only possible but inevitable through sustained collective effort. It's about providing light in darkness and a clear path forward. This could involve regularly sharing success stories, even small ones, acknowledging difficulties while maintaining focus on solutions, and personally embodying a resilient attitude.
Eighth, champion experimentation and innovation. Queen Nzinga's unorthodox diplomacy, like the strategic use of the chair incident, preserved her kingdom by creatively finding new solutions when conventional methods failed against the Portuguese. This reminds us that it's not always about rigidly following established rules. Sometimes it's about courageously finding entirely new, inventive solutions, especially in dire circumstances. This means leaders must be genuinely open to new ideas, willing to challenge the status quo, and brave enough to try unconventional approaches when faced with seemingly intractable problems. It requires fostering a culture where failure is seen as a learning opportunity, where diverse perspectives are actively sought out, and where creative solutions are celebrated, even if they deviate from established norms. For instance, in an R&D department, this translates to encouraging bold, speculative projects, even if their immediate success isn't guaranteed.
Ninth, lead with courage. This powerful principle is woven throughout every story we've told today. From Crispus Attucks making the ultimate sacrifice for liberty, to the Golden 13 facing immense scrutiny and prejudice to break barriers, to Martin Luther King Jr. risking everything for dignity and equality, this is the very heartbeat of resilient leadership, the unwavering willingness to confront injustice, to stand up for what's right, even at immense personal cost. It means stepping outside your comfort zone, speaking up against wrongdoing in your organization, and acting decisively in alignment with your values, even when it's difficult, unpopular, or potentially dangerous to your career. It's the moral backbone that allows a leader to make difficult decisions that prioritize long-term good over short-term comfort.
And finally, 10th, commit to reflection and improvement. The source frames this as America's continuing journey to live up to its creed, a recognition that the work of justice is never truly finished. This commandment points to the ongoing, iterative nature of progress and the absolute necessity of self-assessment and continuous learning for both individuals and nations. Leaders must constantly evaluate their actions, genuinely learn from mistakes, and strive for continuous betterment. It's about humility, acknowledging imperfections, and committing to an iterative process of growth and refinement, ensuring that history serves as a wise teacher, not just a static record of past events. This could mean regular 360-degree feedback, dedicated time for strategic review, or a personal commitment to continuous professional development and mentorship.
What's truly remarkable is how these diverse figures, separated by centuries and vastly different contexts, all embody these same core principles of resilient leadership. It really shows you the enduring power and timeless relevance of these ideas. These aren't just historical footnotes, they are living lessons, applicable to any challenge you might face in your own leadership journey today, whether you're leading a small team, a large organization, or even just your own life.
Right. And this raises an important question for all of us. How do leaders effectively integrate these timeless lessons into their daily practice, making them more than just theoretical concepts? It's about recognizing that every challenge, every setback, every opportunity, much like those faced throughout this 406-year struggle, presents a fresh opportunity for embodying these commandments. It's about internalizing them so deeply that they become second nature in how you approach your team, your organization, and your own personal development. It's really an ongoing journey of conscious application.
So, what does this all mean for us, the listener, right now, in this present moment? Our source makes it clear this isn't just history to passively observe. It's a living, breathing lesson for how we lead today. The anniversary of 1619 isn't merely a historical reflection. It's framed as a call to action for the next generation of leaders. It emphasizes the dual nature of America's past, acknowledging both the harm of prejudice and the heroism of those who overcame it.
And to truly build a better future, one where honor and equality are more than aspirational words, the source argues that leaders must be the active drivers of change. It provides specific, tangible guiding principles for aspiring leaders, whether you're in the military, the tech sector, or any other field, which are essentially practical applications of the commandments we just discussed.
First, educate and acknowledge. This means taking the deliberate time to learn the full, nuanced history of our country and our world, both the triumphs and, crucially, the sins. It's absolutely essential to acknowledge past injustices openly and without equivocation. Understanding the full truth about 1619 and the subsequent centuries of struggle is vital. Vital to preventing old prejudices and systemic inequalities from creeping into our present and future. The source states that great leaders reckon with history instead of ignoring it. This isn't just about reading a book, it's about internalizing and integrating historical understanding into every aspect of your decision-making, ensuring that your actions are informed by a clear-eyed, compassionate view of the past. It's about recognizing patterns of injustice and actively working to disrupt them.
Second, treat everyone with dignity. This means making respect and human dignity non-negotiable, a fundamental tenet of your leadership style and your organizational culture. Every single person, regardless of their background, race, gender, sexual orientation, national origin, or any other characteristic, deserves to be treated with profound respect and valued for their unique contributions. In your daily interactions as a leader, you must actively model the principle that everyone is created equal and worthy of honor. This moves beyond passive tolerance. It's about active valuing, genuine recognition of inherent worth, and creating environments where everyone feels seen, heard, and respected for who they are and what they bring. This could mean actively seeking diverse perspectives in meetings, ensuring equitable access to opportunities, and creating clear channels for feedback that are actually acted upon.
Third, lead by example. Culture change, as the source points out, doesn't just happen by wishing it so. It begins squarely at the top and with the consistent actions of each individual leader. You, as the leader, need to set the unequivocal tone by actively promoting inclusivity and maintaining a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination within your team or organization. This translates into concrete, practical actions like proactively mentoring and sponsoring individuals from underrepresented groups, ensuring that diverse voices are not just present but actively heard and valued in every discussion, and courageously calling out biased behavior the moment you witness it. When leaders consistently and visibly model the values of equality, fairness, and inclusion, it creates a powerful ripple effect that truly transforms culture. It's about demonstrating your values through your daily actions, not just your words.
Fourth, have the courage to challenge bias. Aspiring leaders must develop the fortitude and willingness to stand up against racism, sexism, or any form of injustice, even and especially when doing so is uncomfortable or goes against established norms. This may mean challenging outdated traditions, questioning long-held assumptions, or speaking up forcefully when you witness inequity. The source reminds us that countless brave individuals before you, from abolitionists who risked their lives to civil rights activists who faced dogs and fire hoses, showed immense moral courage to break systemic barriers. Your courage in the workplace can directly continue that vital legacy. This is about the active role of leadership in dismantling systemic issues, not just personal ones. It requires a willingness to face friction, push boundaries, and endure discomfort for a greater, more just good. It's proactive rather than reactive.
And finally, fifth, keep hope alive. Perhaps the greatest, most enduring leadership lesson gleaned from this long, hard history, as the source concludes, is the absolute necessity to remain hopeful and resilient. The entire story of Black Americans, from their forced arrival in 1619 through centuries of struggle and perseverance, is ultimately a profound narrative of hope triumphing over despair. As a leader, you must actively cultivate an optimism that positive change is not only possible but achievable through consistent effort. Inspire your peers and subordinates with a clear, compelling vision of a fairer, more united team, organization, or even nation. Remember, hope is a force multiplier. It doesn't just sustain people through setbacks, but it actively energizes and motivates them to push progress forward, multiplying their collective impact and resilience in the face of daunting challenges. It means being a beacon of possibility, even when the path ahead is uncertain.
Right. And from a broader perspective, these guiding principles are the practical, actionable application of the Ten Commandments we just discussed. They provide concrete steps for transforming profound historical lessons into tangible, positive action within our organizations and communities. The source reiterates that in reflecting on the first enslaved Africans arriving in 1619 and all that followed, we gain a crucial understanding of how leadership can either perpetuate injustice or actively help to heal and transcend it. The choice, ultimately, lies with us.
It's a powerful, resonant challenge, isn't it? The past isn't merely behind us. It's a profound lens through which we can better understand how to shape the future, how to build something stronger and more equitable. Aspiring leaders today, our source clearly states, have the solemn responsibility to choose the latter path, to actively heal, to unite, and to transcend injustice. By genuinely learning from the mistakes and the incredible heroism of our past, and by committing ourselves to unwavering principles of equality, inclusion, integrity, and courage, we can ensure that our organizations, our communities, and our nation truly live up to the fundamental creed that all of us are created equal and deserve the chance to thrive. We've taken a deep dive today through centuries of history, from Queen Nzinga's defiant stand in Angola to the Golden 13 breaking barriers in the Navy, from Harriet Tubman's brave railroad to Martin Luther King Jr.'s transformative marches. The central story is clear. Meaningful progress is not inevitable. It is painstakingly forged by those who absolutely refuse to surrender dignity, even when denied it by the most brutal of systems.
And this profound journey raises one final, compelling question for each of us listening today. If the defining characteristic of these incredibly resilient leaders was their unyielding refusal to surrender dignity, even when society actively sought to strip it from them, what personal or systemic dignity deficits are we called to address in our own spheres of influence today, right now? And critically, how will our leadership reflect that unwavering commitment to restoring and upholding dignity for all?
That's a powerful thought to leave you with, isn't it? How will you be the answer to the legacy of 1619? How will you lead with integrity, with courage, with respect, and with an unwavering sense of hope in your own life and work, transforming the challenges you face into opportunities for collective strength and dignity? We sincerely hope this deep dive has given you some powerful insights and actionable principles to carry forward.
Sorry, it looks like my microphone was off. Let me just say this again quickly. So without the Golden 13, there would be no Commander Zinga. Without Admiral Samuel L. Gravely Jr., there would be no Commander Bob Zinga. Without the late General Colin Powell, there would be no Commander Nzinga. So I do stand on the shoulder of giants, and I believe it is now up to you and me to create an environment, a society, a nation where everybody is treated fairly and is included and treated with respect and dignity. So I think that is really, as a leader, as an ethical leader, that is what we need to do. Whether you are gay, straight, male, women, black, white, it doesn't matter. We are the melting pot in America, right? Our national motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one. So let's lead inclusively. Okay, so that's really the lesson of the day for me. Let me check and see any comments on LinkedIn. Okay, I do not see any. So what I am going to do now is I'm going to play a couple of clips. I have a dream speech. And yes, we can from Will I Am and then still I Wise. I'm just going to conclude our podcast today. Thank you so much for being with me today.
I have the pleasure to present to you Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Five score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, "My country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and when it happens, when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free.
It was a creed written into the founding documents that declared the destiny of a nation. Yes, we can. It was whispered by slaves and abolitionists as they blazed the trail toward freedom. Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
It was sung.
It was sung by immigrants as they struck out the distant shores, pioneers who pushed westward against unforgiving wilderness. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
It was the call of workers organized, women who reached for the ballots, a president who chose the moon as our new frontier,
and a king who took us to the mountaintop and pointed the way to the promised land.
Yes, we can to justice and equality.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we
can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can to opportunity and prosperity. Yes, we can to opportunity and prosperity. Yes, we can heal this nation.
Heal this nation.
Yes, we can repair this world. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
remember that no matter what obstacles stand in our way, nothing can stand in the way of the power of millions of voices calling for change.
We want change. We want change. We want change.
We have been told we cannot do this by a chorus of cynics. They will only grow louder
and
more dissonant. We've been asked to pause for a reality check. We've been warned against offering the people of this nation false hope.
But in the unlikely story that is America, there's never been anything false about hope.
Want change, it's all gonna change.
I want change. I want change.
The hopes of the little girl who goes to the public school in Dillon are the same as the dreams of boy who learns on the streets of LA.
We will remember that there's something happening in America.
That we are not as divided as our politics suggest. That we are one
people.
That we are one nation. And together we will begin the next great chapter in the American story with three words that will ring from coast to coast, from sea to shining sea. Yes, we can. 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 Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
The issues which face us all are not just how to survive. Obviously, we are doing that somehow. But really how to thrive. Really. Thrive with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. This poem is called "And Still I Rise." Now, every person in this auditorium has gone to sleep one night or another, or gone to bed one night or another, with fear or pain or loss or terror, unhappiness, grief, insecurity, and yet each of us has awakened, arisen, seen another human being and said, "Morning, how are you?" "Fine, thanks, and you?" Now, wherever that abides, whether it's behind the kneecap or in the bend of the elbow or between the teeth, wherever that is, lives, there we will find our nobleness. Not nobility, I think that's a pompous word, but the nobleness of the human spirit, that we rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Just because I walk as if I have oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my sassiness upset you? Don't take it so hard just because I laugh, as if I have gold mines digging in my own backyard. You can shoot me with your words, you can cut me with your lies, you can kill me with your hatefulness, but just like life, All right. Does my sexiness offend you? Oh. Does it come as a surprise that I dance? As if I have diamonds at the meeting of my thighs. Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. Up from a past rooted in pain I rise. A black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling and bearing in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear I rise. Into a daybreak miraculously clear I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. And so, wow. There I go.
Bye, everybody. This is Coach Busy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, and share.
Thank you for listening to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to our channels and come back for more wisdom nuggets on how you may develop into a better leader and achieve greater levels of success. Leadership is the most critical skill. The world will always need leaders to lead others, deploy the next disruptive technology, or execute a business strategy. You may as well decide on counting yourself among the 21st century leaders. See you right here next time on the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.